Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. This section will be about Tahara and Wudu. Tahara being physical purification, which is required for Wudu to be valid, which is the ritual washing or ablution, which is required for worship to be valid. And this will be according to the Shafi'i school. It'll be from the same book, the encompassing epistle or الرسالة الجامعة والتذكرة النافعة by Sheikh Ahmed ibn Zayn al-Habashi rahimahullah. So two comments on Tahara. The first is about bathroom precautions. The first point under that is that sitting when using the restroom is always preferred. Now, standing is not haram or prohibited, but it is makruh, it's disliked and only to be used as needed, like if going to a public restroom where the place is just too filthy to sit down. In a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ ordered the companions not to stand up, but he himself ﷺ was observed in the distance a couple of times to be standing while relieving himself ﷺ. So the scholars, they reconciled this by saying it's not haram to stand, it's just makruh. So it's still okay to use as needed. Number two would be to avoid any splatter on the skin or clothes. If splatter from the urine does occur, or if even from defecation, if something happens where it gets on the skin or clothes, the area has to be washed with enough water to remove the filth, or to significantly dilute the area of filth on the clothes. Now the clothes don't have to be washed altogether. Right, only the area of filth. And the two methods to clean ourselves are usually with dry wiping or wet wiping. Dry wiping would be with toilet paper only, or wet wiping would be to use any device like a bidet, a spray, or just wet toilet paper. These are all permitted, although water is always preferred if it's available due to its thoroughness. And if you use water, you have to use enough to completely remove the filth. And if you do dry wiping, you have to do at least 3 wipes. And for urinating, at least enough to remove the urine, but especially for defecating, it has to be at least 3 wipes. And if a small amount of residue after defecating is left after wiping enough, if a tiny amount of residue is left after that, it does not nullify the worship. So this is not something we're meant to be really OCD about, but we should be as judicious and put in as much effort as possible to remove the filth. And the second overall point was body hair removal, that all hair in the armpit and pubic region, which is from the belly button down all the way to the anus, should be removed. And not just trimmed, but removed. And removed is either through shaving, waxing, or plucking. And hair around the anus should be removed as well. This is recommended to be done once a week, but you should not go for more than 40 days without doing this. And to get straight into wudu, the first section on wudu is furud al-wudu, which is the obligations of wudu. There are 6 obligatory actions of wudu. If you miss any of the 6, the whole wudu is nullified. It does not count if you miss any of these 6 pillars of wudu. The first one is a niyyah, or the intention. And we said before that the intention is something that someone says to themselves. It does not have to be said out loud. And it answers 2 questions. What are you doing and why are you doing it? So in this case, I'm making wudu to be able to worship Allah. You say this to yourself in your heart. But if saying it out loud helps you focus better, it's okay to say out loud as well, but it's not a requirement to do so. The second requirement of wudu is washing the face, and there's a difference between washing and wiping. Washing means the water has to run directly on the surface, or you cup the water and run it manually over the surface. Versus wiping, where you literally just wipe with a wet hand. So washing the face here, the boundaries of the face are from the hairline, or if somebody has like a shaved head or a bald head, where the hairline normally would be. You start from the top the top of the head where the hairline would be in the middle. Draw a line all the way down the nose, all the way down to the bottom of the chin where the jawline meets the chin. And that would be lengthwise, and then widthwise would be from ear to ear, not including the ears obviously, but from ear to ear. So you have those 4 points, and you draw a wide circle using those 4 points, and that's the boundaries of the face. And you have to wash everything within that. So that includes, obviously your forehead, the eyelids, the nose, between the nose and upper lip, and between the lower lip and the chin. All those spots that are commonly missed you have to get, as well as the whole circumference of the face. And that's to wash. So either the water has to directly run over the face, or you cup the water and run it directly over the face. The third is washing the arms up to and including the elbows. So after you make your intention and you wash the face, you wash your hands, like you would start with your right hand. You would run the water over your right hand and use your left hand to get all of the entire hand, including between the fingers. And then you cup the water with the right hand and run it down the elbow, or you run the water directly over the arm and the elbow. But the subtlety here is that your elbow cannot be dry. So the water has to go down to the elbow and past the elbow a bit, because there's no line that specifies where the elbow starts and where it stops. So you go past the elbow a bit, and you've completed the third pillar. And you do the same with the left hand, washing the left hand front and back and between the fingers. And the water should also touch the nails. That's why nail polish that's not waterproof, nail polish that is waterproof, meaning water cannot get down into the nail, it nullifies the wudu. So you same with the left hand. Either the water is directly over it, or you cup and run it down the arm and including the elbow. So the subtlety in wudu, of completing the wudu, the sign of a good wudu, is that the elbows and the ankles are never dry after you're done. That's one of the subtleties of wudu that's often missed. Now, another point is, so far we haven't talked about the initial washing of the hands before washing the face, the madmada, which is gargling of the, washing the mouth, and then rinsing the nose. These are considered sunan. So they are extra acts of worship in wudu that we should do. Like, we should follow the Prophet ﷺ in these actions, and they are heavily rewarded. And they cover any other mistakes you do in the wudu that you don't know of. But they are not. But if somebody misses these, it does not nullify the wudu. So we shouldn't go to somebody who doesn't wash their hands initially, or gargle their mouth, or rinse their nose, and if they miss it, we tell them that their wudu is nullified. That's wrong. So the washing of the hands that's fard is the washing of the hands that comes after washing the face. The initial washing of the hands is sunnah, but the washing of the hands that comes after the face is fard. That cannot be missed. The fourth is wiping part of the scalp or hair within its boundaries. So in the Shafi'i school, you don't have to wash the whole, wipe. Right here, it's just wetting a part of the hand and then wiping. You don't have to wipe the head back and forth of the hair. You don't have to wipe your hair back and forth. You just have to wipe a few hairs. And this is helpful for women who wear hijab and they're out wearing a scarf and they need to make wudu. They don't have to take off their hijab and wipe their whole hair. They just have to wipe a few hairs in the front. And the fifth is washing the feet, including the ankles and everything on the feet. So that's the toes, between the toes, the bottom of the foot, the heel, and the ankles. And so the heel and the ankle should not be dry after you finish your wudu. And the sixth is doing everything that we said in the above order, the above manner. So not breaking the order, doing something out of order, one before the other. That's it. So the 6 obligations of wudu are the intention, washing the face, washing the hands and arms, including the elbows, wiping a part of the scalp or hair, washing the feet, including the heels and ankles, and doing them in the above manner. That's it. And the second major thing after wudu is ghusl, which is the purifying bath. So when we're in a state of impurity, the majority of the time, the way to go into purity would be to make wudu, and then you could do your worship. But there are certain situations where doing wudu is not enough. You have to do a ghusl, which is a bath, where you wash every part of your body, and you have to have the intention that you're lifting the state that led you to require it. And this is called, so the main state that you need it to do ghusl for is called janaba. And you'll hear this term often in fiqh, janaba, where somebody is in a state of junub or janaba, and that is after the release of sexual fluid, either through intercourse between husband and wife, through masturbation, or a wet dream. If there's emission of sexual fluid, automatically that puts a person in a state of janaba, and they have to take a bath where everything is washed, and you have to have the intention that I'm taking this bath to lift the state of janaba, and that's it. And obviously once you do that, you don't have to do wudu after that, so you'd be ready to worship immediately afterwards. But there's just certain situations like the release of sexual fluid through any of those ways, or for example a woman whose menstrual period ends. So if a woman's menstrual period ends, she can't just go make wudu and pray. She has to perform ghusl. And remember, in the Shafi'i school, the intention is a requirement for the worship. So just like in wudu, you have to make the intention for wudu. For ghusl, you have to make the intention for ghusl. And lastly, nawaqid al-wudu. What are the invalidators of wudu? There are 4. So we said there are 6 obligatory actions of wudu, and then there's the condition for ghusl, and now we have 4 invalidators or nullifiers of wudu. The first one is anything that exits from either of the 2 waste passages for the front or back. So whether that's urine, menstrual blood, or blood of any kind, feces or gas. Anything that comes out of the ends from the private parts breaks the wudu. Number 2 is loss of consciousness through sleep or other means, like a concussion, except for the sleep of someone whose buttocks are firmly seated on the ground. So also, if somebody sits upright, like on a couch or a chair, and sleeps that way, that does not break their wudu. But if they recline and they lay flat in order to sleep, that does break their wudu. And the justification is, if you're sitting up, you're less likely to pass gas unknowingly during your sleep. But if you lay flat, then you're more likely to pass gas. Number 3 is touching the genitals or anus of a human being, whether one's own or someone else's, with the palm of the hand or the front side of the fingers, whether an adult or child. So an example here is if I'm changing a baby's diaper and the front of my fingers or the palm of my hand on the inside of the hand touches the urethra or the anus where the waste comes out from, that breaks my wudu. Or if I'm in a shower and I'm drying myself after a shower and the inside of my hand touches the private area where the waste comes out from, that would break my wudu. But if it's touched by the back of the hand or the back of the fingers, that does not break the wudu. Number 4 is skin contact between an adult male and female who are unrelated, without a barrier, unless it's with fingernails, hair, or teeth. So basically, unless the person is, let's say for men, unless that woman is the man's mother, sister, or daughter, do a skin-to-skin contact will break the wudu. So even between his wife, skin-to-skin contact would break the wudu, unless there's a barrier, like if there's a glove or if it's with a piece of cloth or plastic and they touch each other, that does not break the wudu. Or for example, at the store, a female cashier hands you some change or hands you anything, and her skin touches your skin. Remember, it has to be skin to skin contact. From someone who is unrelated, meaning you cannot get married to that person. So a first cousin, for example, is not included in this category of someone who's unmarried, who you cannot marry. So skin to skin contact between adult male and female in that scenario too does break the wudu. But for example, a baby girl who's not an adult, who has not reached puberty, if she comes and touches me, that does not break my wudu. And also he specifies fingernails, hair, or teeth. So if a woman's fingernail touches my skin, or her hair touches my skin, or her teeth touch my skin, that does not break the wudu. Now, some can say that this brings on too much hardship. Now, there are other schools of thought, like Imam Abu Hanifa, the Hanafi school, who say no, only if the touch is a lustful touch, like with a sexual intention. So if it's a lustful touch, that breaks the wudu. But if it's a normal touch without any lust behind it, that does not break the wudu, according to Imam Abu Hanifa. But according to Imam Shafi'i, regardless whether it was lustful or not, if it's between an adult male and female who are unrelated, and it's skin to skin contact, it breaks the wudu immediately. Now, everyone follows what they're most comfortable with. And if you want to follow Imam Shafi'i, then you follow his opinion that any skin to skin contact in these scenarios breaks the wudu. But if your heart feels more at ease with someone like Imam Abu Hanifa in this case, then khair, that's a legitimate opinion. It's an accepted opinion in Ahl Sunnah, and you could follow it, no problem, inshallah. And that's the beauty of fiqh, the vastness of the opinions of the four imams and the thousands and thousands of scholars that followed them. That there's a lot of tolerance and unity on these topics, and not just bickering and strictness and closed-mindedness. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.